Whether the estrangement in your life happened quietly or it happened in some great big dramatic fashion, it wasn't the first crack in the relationship. I promise it wasn't. It was just the loudest. It probably didn't come out of nowhere because most families break quietly for years before someone finally steps away. In case we haven't met, my name's Diana and I help women with estranged relationships finally stop spinning in circles of confusion and resentment and start healing for real. No more band-aids, no more blame games, and no more waiting around for someone else to do the work or to make some changes. It's all about reclaiming your own power and stepping into your own peace, regardless of what those other people do or don't do. Here's the deal. Estrangement feels like such a big deal and gets all of the attention because it's the part that hurts the most. It's the part where things broke, where the loved one left, and where everything fell apart. But it's not the whole story. It's the tipping point. In most cases, it happens after years, sometimes decades of unresolved tension, poor communication, emotional misattunement, unspoken words that we may or may not have even known were there. But the truth is, families don't fall apart, especially strong ones, but they do erode over time. And it happens through maybe subtle dismissals, power dynamics that have never been questioned, misread boundaries, unacknowledged pain, unpleasant issues or situations that have been swept under the rug instead of dealt with, maybe hoping they'd go away, but in reality they just festered. And in so many cases, it's generational patterns of dysfunction that have been accepted as normal or as right, even if they weren't. That final break that comes, that causes the estrangement, that's just the visible part of a much deeper, older, and bigger problem. If it feels like you've tried everything, you've written the letters, you've sent the texts, you've given space, and nothing is working, it's not because you're a bad mom or you're unlovable, or even because your kids are bad or somebody else is influencing it. More likely, it's because you're addressing the rupture, not the cause of the problem. Because no matter how we slice it or dice it, estrangement is just a symptom. And trying to address it or fix it as a standalone problem is like trying to whack away at the leaves of a dying tree. Until we address the real problem at the roots and look at what is feeding the problem, it's never truly going to change. It is, however, very easy to get stuck in loops of he said, she said, or why did they leave me? Or why are they doing this? And that can send your brain into all kinds of loops, but they're not going to get you anywhere productive. If that's you, if you've been stuck in those places, I want you to take a step back and ask a different question. What was our relationship really like before they left? And a lot of people are going to say, well, it was great, or it was fine. We never had a problem until insert whatever you think the problem might be. And then the blame games begin. Here's something different to try and break out of those loops, though. I want you to make a timeline or a list of memories that go back for as long as you can remember. But don't just include the good stuff. Also add the hard stuff, the confusing stuff, the sad stuff, the angry stuff, all of it. Even the mundane stuff. And then I want you to look at the patterns, not just the moments. How are these things actually handled? What did you do, and what was their response? Did you struggle to talk honestly about things or about the issues without things getting heated or defensive? Did you default to trying to fix things rather than listening? Were emotions welcomed, or were they shut down? And what if your child presented differing social, religious, or lifestyle choices? Were they accepted? Were they ridiculed? Was there anger? Now let's take things a step further. I want you to go back even further and consider, how did my own parents handle things when I came to them with those issues? What did they do when I brought things up that they didn't agree with, or I wanted some independence and they didn't want to let go? Was I taught that these were normal ways that families respond and treat each other? And how did I feel about it? My friend, this isn't about beating yourself up. It's about getting clear. Because we can't fix what we can't see and what we're not willing to see. But it is these kind of situations where estrangement actually begins. Social media, therapy, whatever else we've been blaming it on, they aren't the cause. They might contribute to the narratives on each side, but they are not the drivers of it, and they are not responsible for the fractures or the breaks. I know there's a lot of rhetoric out there that says otherwise, and there's a lot of parents who are going to scream at me for saying this. Whatever. It's fine. Because what I know for sure, after having lived this myself from all sides, is that when you start seeing estrangement as a symptom and as a manifestation of a much deeper problem, instead of it being a personal attack, it opens the door to healing, even if the other person isn't ready, because it opens the door to healing for yourself. If you want more tips and steps you can take to start that healing process and to continue that healing process, grab a copy of my free guide that I have linked down below in the description. It offers 12 things you can start doing right away to reclaim your own peace after estrangement. If you've been going through this and you've had some different ideas about estrangement, I promise you're not alone. There's a lot of noise about it out on social media. There's a lot of misinformation about it out there. But I think the bigger deal is that most of us, especially those of us over 50, weren't taught how to navigate conflict very well. We learned how to shut it down, to avoid it, to smooth it over, and just to keep the peace. Many of us were raised with that old adage that children are to be seen and not heard. But what ends up happening is we end up being adults that are not seen and heard. And we're still craving to be seen and heard. But instead, we stay silent or we turn it into controlling others in order to feel like we're in control of ourselves. Many of us were also taught to believe that boundaries mean rejection, that silence means respect, and that authority means strict obedience. And we carried those beliefs into our adult parenting and into the emotional fabric of our families. And in many cases, they didn't even start with us, but they were passed to us from generation to generation. The problem is those models don't work, and they never have. And they certainly don't work, especially long-term in today's information and communication age, where we have instant access to all kinds of differing perspectives and ideas with the touch of a button. Those things didn't exist back in our day, back in when we were growing up, or back when our parents were raising us. The good thing is we also have access to a lot more correct and healing information, because in reality, real connection requires self-awareness. And that's what I teach. I don't teach how to get your kids back by jumping through hoops or writing the perfect letter or being the perfect person. But I do teach how to become someone who can rebuild trust, both with yourself and with others, because you're doing your own healing work first. It's not easy and it's not quick, but it's the only way to make changes that are real, that last for the long haul, and that are good for everyone. Yes, it can be incredibly frustrating when you're the only one that's doing the work. It's tempting to throw in the towel and take the easy road, maybe even to retort back, to respond in a similar tone, maybe even to match negative energy with negative energy. But I promise you, that is not going to get you where you want to go. If that's you, this video right here is all about what to do when you're the only one doing the work, and why it still matters that you do it and that you keep going. Because none of this is fully about you. None of this is fully about them. And honestly, it really doesn't matter what they do or don't do. Even if you're not speaking right now or you have no idea where they are, you never know when the shift is going to happen and when they're going to be ready for something different. That video is going to show you how to meet them at the crossroads and make sure you're at the crossroads when they're ready to be there as well.